Hi, fellow traders. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. I know several of you have been waiting to see the recap on this trade I took in chat on Friday, but it took me most of the weekend to get over this mess. And I'll explain that to you in a few, as we get there, but I'm going to go over this. Now, one of the unique things about this trade, it did hit my scan, and it was trading down here. You can see this is the volume bar, and this is the candle from Friday, and you can see it was well below the price action. This was a pretty significant gap down here. I had to go all the way back to 2014 to when this thing opened, and you can see this is pretty poor price action. So it's a little difficult to find the levels. Like here's one, because I look for pivot points, and with the stock being this choppy and not really trading with any volume, and this is the daily, and you're talking about less than 10,000 shares traded a day. This is the kind of price action you see. But I was able to pinpoint the significant pivot points. It was a little bit harder to spot, but was able to pick them out, and was really unsure how it was going to trade and how it was going to respect these levels. But you see, it respected them pretty good. 1283 going into pre-market, that was my focus right here. And I even said in chat that if this thing broke or it lost 1283, I was gonna, trade it. And sure enough, it lost it, because what's been happening is a lot of these moves have been happening in the 30 minutes prior to open. And I'm tired of missing a lot of the moves. So I'm starting to look at within that last 30 minutes of how safe is it for me to trade. And with this ticker, I had the 9, the VWAP, everything above this level. So once it lost it, I felt pretty confident in trading this. And we did have some decent volume, pre-market. And I only went in 500 shares. So, half my normal size. So I thought about adding at the open, but I just didn't have the conviction. I was just looking for the one quick trade. And sure enough, at the open, I got the wash I wanted down to this 1196 level. I did catch it here at 1208. So I was pretty happy with it. I tried to catch it sub 12, but just did not have just didn't get the fade that far. And I couldn't catch it here in the low 12s. I think I started at 1205 trying to get out and ended up getting out at 1208, but that was still pretty good. And so I said in chat, on a failed push of VWAP, I'm going to add back. Now I figured this was going to fail. This opened pretty weak, and I figured this thing would fail. And we had this 1196 level, and my goal was to cover again here at 1196, take half of it off, because I was going in full size this time. And I was in full size here. I wanted to take half off at 1196 and possibly take another quarter off here at 1150 and see if we could get into this window here. And I don't know what I to this day, I still don't understand why I did what I did. But I did take some here, and I waited, and we did get a pop up here, which was, pretty significant. But I did cover some right here. I didn't add the arrow because I wanted to make sure that was I covered this, because this was significant here. The reason why I covered right here some at 12.17, I took half off, because there was a lot of hidden orders going through on level 2 and time and sales that I saw. There was probably 3 or 4,000 shares being displayed on level 2 here for 12.17, but there were thousands and thousands of orders going through. So that gave me some pause, and I went ahead and covered half here. And that was kind of what took me out of my game. Because I was supposed to have being full size when it got here and then taking out half. I don't understand why this thing turned around when it did. There was no reason for it to do it, but it did. So I took half off and watched this price action. And I didn't take it off at break even here, because I did have a big cushion from this trade, and I already had a cushion here from when I took it off. So I could have given it some room to work. And so here I still have my mind right. And instead of covering, taking off a quarter here and at least letting a quarter run to see if I can get this, I took it all off here. And this was a prime example of me not going back and reading my trade plan. I had my trade plan written out. And when I had to cover here, I didn't go back and amend my trade plan. So I ended up just taking it all off here, when I should have changed my trade plan to take a quarter off here and then look to take a quarter off here. Now, possibly, would I have reset this and taken it here? Yeah, I probably would have added 500 shares after I covered here, added 500 shares to ride the 9 down. That's the way I trade. And if you have seen, noticed the 2 trades I took Monday and Tuesday, I held the stock I was in. I held the last piece until like 3:45, 3:50, sometimes 5 minutes before the bell. Why I didn't do this, I don't know. And this is what upset me the most, was because I did not follow my plan. I didn't stick to my process. And even though I made money on this, and it was decent money, I didn't stick to my process, and I lost out on 2 points. And that's a hard pill to swallow. Now, missing out on a little bit, 50 cents or so, that's not bad. But here I missed out on 2 points. And part of what I talk about a lot is dealing with emotions and understanding that you cannot eliminate emotions in your trading. You need emotions to trade well. However, you have to manage and control those emotions and be able to get these emotions to work for you and not against you. In a situation like this, I wouldn't even fight it. What I did was, I knew that I was out of sync and I needed to take a breath. So I got on my bike and rode a little bit, came back. I was still pretty upset. I could have taken this trade, but I was in such a disgruntled state of mind that I wasn't even seeing trades. And when that happens, the best thing for you to do is to stay away. Even though I could have jumped in this and made some good money, I didn't. Because the smart thing to do was to stay away, stay out of the market, and just focus on what your job was the rest of the day. And that's what I did. And a lot of traders, they have trouble with this. I mean, had I not controlled my emotions and not known what to do when I got in this situation, I could have been revenge trading all over the place. And I could have lost a lot of money. So knowing when to stop, knowing when to walk away, all of that's very important. So, this is why I didn't recap it Friday night. And I didn't even look. I started to yesterday and I just couldn't. Um, I just had to take off and clear my mind and enjoy some of the weekend, which is sometimes that's what we have to do. We can't overdo it. We want to work hard, but we don't want to push ourselves. But that was that trade in a nutshell. I don't think I'm going to make this mistake anytime soon. I'm pretty sure I won't. The last thing I want to share with you is some of you have already seen this, and this is my day trading psychology workshop that I'm putting on. It's called Developing the Day Trader's Mindset. And real quickly, if you want to know more about it, just email me or go to my website. There's some information on it under services. I'm going to have a couple links to a video that will give you some good information. But just real quickly, it's a workshop designed to help you identify and overcome the challenges that we face as day traders. And it's going to be 4 live interactive sessions, meaning everybody's going to be on audio. We're going to be able to have discussions and talk through some things. And it's going to be 4 live sessions. And one is identifying your trading self. Next one is dealing with emotions that destroy trades. The third one, confidence, how it can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And then the last one is putting everything together, establishing some strategies that can help you be the calm, cool, and collected trader that we all strive to be. Now, participation will be limited because that's the best way to provide the best experience. I'm not looking at this to get rich and make all this money. I'm charging because I took a lot of time and spent a lot of time doing it. I think it's very valuable, and it can be worth 100 times more than what you pay for. Now the cost is $375 for the 4 sessions. If you're someone I work with, that I mentor with, or have mentored with, you will get a 40% discount. You just need to email me, and we can work that out. It's going to be Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. The first workshop will start next Saturday. And I do have enough to run the workshop, but there is room for more. If you want to do that, just sign up at my website, averagejoetrader.com. Just go into services, and you'll see the Day Trader's Mindset description there. And I really think it's going to be good. It's everything that I've learned from my experiences trading, how I was able to relate, everything from what I learned being a teacher and having to take all of these psychology classes and going to these workshops, and it works wonders. So just get with me if you want to know more. Always email me at averagejoetrader.com. averagejoetrader@gmail.com, or you can send me a request on my website. I can get back with you, or ed@warriortrading.com. Just get with me and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm looking for next week to be a little bit better week, where I can get more locked in and I won't make any huge mistakes. And we're going to make mistakes, but you don't want to make these big mistakes that cost you, potentially $1,000. That's just not something you want to do day in and day out. So have a great rest of the weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow morning in chat.